Good evening. Welcome to our November school board meeting. We appreciate you being here. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll have a pledge of allegiance by Mr. Perkins, followed by an invocation by Mr. Clark.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this opportunity to gather as the Show Low School Board and to discuss the needs of our school and the faculty, the teachers, the students, and the parents. We pray that Thy Spirit will be with us to help guide our thoughts and guide our understanding, that we will do what's best for the community as we deliberate, that we will be kind and cordial to one another, we will be able to come to agreement, and that we will have a spirit of harmony and unity among the board so that we can do what's best for this district. We ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I just realized I had asked them the opposite. Thanks for rolling with the punches, guys. I appreciate that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll now entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3.2, recognition of legendary staff members. Mr. Housley.
Members of the board, if you would go down there, we would like to recognize one of our staff members this evening for their efforts. We'll call Mrs. Clark down and Mrs. Tracy Snyder.
Thank you. You can just okay. All right. I have to say some nice things.
Okay.
Thank you, governing board members and Mr. Housley and community for giving me a chance to recognize Mrs. Tracy Snyder. She's a valuable member of the Show Low Junior High School staff. Mrs. Snyder came to us this year when the program that she oversaw at Nicholas Homestead merged with our program at Show Low Junior High School. And Mrs. Snyder brought with her some students and a paraprofessional and also a willing spirit, even to such extent that she and her family, her husband's here with us tonight, came in over the summer to help spruce up the classroom and beautify it and make it student ready. We're grateful for that. In addition to her full-time role at Show Low Junior High School, Mrs. Snyder is currently in a master's degree program with Rio Salado College. And I imagine this keeps her incredibly busy, but at school we would never know that because she is often one of the first staff members to arrive in the morning and one of the last to leave at the end of the workday. In the most recent months, and really why we're here tonight, circumstances have required Mrs. Snyder to kind of step into a role that she probably did not anticipate she would be stepping into when she came over to the junior high school, and have her take on more of a role as a teacher leader. During that time, I personally have witnessed Mrs. Snyder grow in her management and leadership of her classroom staff, her finesse in leading meetings, and her confidence in supporting her students and really standing up for what's right for them. She embodies the definition of what going the extra mile means for kids. We're grateful that the merger of our district programs brought Mrs. Snyder to Show Low Junior High School, and I value her contribution and her positive.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Due to unforeseen circumstances, our high school legendary staff wasn't able to make it tonight. We'll recognize him next month.
Thank you very much. We appreciate all you do for us. Item 3.3, High School Showbiz will perform and announce the upcoming Feast of Carols.
Mr. President, this group almost doesn't need an introduction. Are you guys going to come around or are you going to stay where you're at? You're going to come up? Awesome. Come on up. Make sure you're all on TV.
All right. So I'm happy to have Showbiz here with me tonight. This has been an amazing group to work with this year, and we are excited to announce the 35th anniversary of Ye Olde Magical Feast, the Feast of Carols. This show started back in 1983 with Scott Gentry, and it has continued. And these students are excited to take on the roles of the royal court and present it for you on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, December 5th, 6th, and 7th. We have 4 shows. Thursday night is our dessert night. Tickets are $9. Friday night and Saturday night, we have dinner shows at 7 p.m. and those tickets are $22. And then Saturday, we also have a matinee at noon and those tickets are $18. All tickets are on sale right now at Loft Green Photography, Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Or you can call Nikki Hall at 928-242-7742 to make a reservation. So we hope everybody will come and join us. These kids are preparing a fantastic show and they're just amazing young people to work with. And we are just super proud of them. And it's going to be a show that you will not want to miss and you will definitely not forget it. So they've got one of the pieces that they will be singing for Feast of Carols. It's I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. So we're going to present that for you now. We hope that everybody will come join us on December 5th, 6th, and 7th.
I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought till as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men.
And in despair I bow my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to man. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail. With peace on earth, goodwill to man. Still ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day. A voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to man. With peace on earth, goodwill to man.
Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate you being here. Christmas in Sholo does not exist without this program. And you do sound like angels. Thank you for coming to see us and good luck. Moving on to item 3.4, call to the audience. I do have one person, Mr. Rayburn. Come on up. Let you know if you just state your name and you got about 3 minutes to visit with us.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
That's all?
That's it.
That would be more than enough.
Okay.
My name
You
is
get 1 minute then.
My name is Dennis
That was a
Rayburn.
joke.
Oh, did you say wait?
No, I said you got 1 minute then. If
Okay.
if three's more than enough, you get one.
Dennis Rayburn. I live at 1042 Schoolhouse Lane, right next to the Linden Elementary School. And the reason I'm in here tonight is my wife and I, since they put those, since you've done that construction out there this summer, we have a beautiful closed-in patio, screened in, keep the bugs out, the whole ball wax, but I can't even use it now because I feel every night that I'm at a football game with all the stupid lights out there. They're glary. There's one light on the building behind, I think it's a mobile home or whatever. And they've got an LED light on there. When I take my dog out at night, if I dare look at that light, I'm blinded. I can't even see. And I've talked to Sean West, talked to him about once every month. And it just so happens that they did start putting something on a couple of the lights today. But they've changed the bulbs of the old parking lot. They've got those LEDs down there. And if you take a look at it when you're driving by, because I have to drive by it, wherever I'm going. If you take a look at it, you cannot see in front of you for a couple of seconds. I mean, it's that blinding. I didn't move out there 20 years ago. I could have very well lived in Show Low. I was a contractor up here for 30 years, but I wanted to be out, and get out of town. Well, now I feel like I'm in town again, and I'm not going for it, guys. I see no reason why and then they add this parking lot, these new lights they've got on there, and it's, the other one was bad enough, but now it's 150 feet closer to me. We've got to close the windows at night in the house in the summertime. The lights shine in through there. We don't have no peace. And I'm wondering why do we have to have 2 parking lots lit up when everybody leaves at 5 o'clock or whatever time they leave? It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know who pays you guys' bills. Well, I guess we do. But anyways, it's really sad. I don't see any reason why one light can't stay on. You got lights all around that school. My wife and I report when the alarm goes off on the well house out there. We know who to call. But, it's not fun. You guys might save enough on electrical if you turn some of that stuff off, switch it or whatever, to maybe take care of the potholes out in front that we've been messing with for 20 years. And, well, that's it. My wife and I, when we're on the porch now, I don't think we even sat out there at all this summer. But we have to face our house in a beautiful patio, got a beautiful view out there, but we can't look out there. You got to sit in certain places, and you got to look at the house. Hey, I live in a house. I don't need to sit there and look at it. I want to look out. Anyways, I'd like something done. I really would. That's all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Rayburn,
Did I do it within
you
3
did fine. Do you live next to the school or do you live across from the school?
I live right across the cattle guard, that big steel building. My house is inside of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Item 3.5, Superintendent Report. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, members of the board, I just want to share just a couple of things. Fall sports have concluded. The volleyball team won the first round of state, went down to the competition in Phoenix and lost the next game, but had a great season. All in all, with our football team, considering the injuries and the ups and downs that the injury bug plagued on us, I think we had a good season and we were right in the games. You got Blue Ridge and and Snowflake playing tomorrow night for the chance to go in the semis, and we were right in. I think had the chance to win both of those games. So very competitive. Just unfortunate circumstances. Cross country is going to state, and we've got that rolling, and really excited. Our basketball and wrestling programs kicked off, as well as basketball and wrestling in the junior high. And right now, I've talked, the schedule that we set up to go and utilize the gyms, while it's not ideal, it's not the perfect schedule in the world, our coaches and players are making it work, and I think the experience overall is as good as we could expect it to be in an imperfect situation, right? So gym progress as far as construction is going, some days they'll pick it up, some days they'll go backwards. There was about a week where the crew was very skeleton with all the other work that they have going on. They had not enough guys, and so the person overseeing it for SFB told them that they were required to have more personnel on and to pick up the pace. And so when we're talking about off schedule, we're just 1 or 2 days here or there now, but if it didn't pick up, it would have been substantial. But we're glad that it's starting to pick up. I did want to, and I put this information inside your board packet. We did apply for the school safety grant for counselors and SROs at our schools. There was $20 million available. The applications that came in were valued at, if they filled all the positions, the value would have been over $100 million. And so while they were supposed to have already told us and approved the positions they hope by November or first part of December, probably won't happen until after the first of the year because of the review process for all those applications. And I put a statement from the superintendent of public instruction, Kathy Hoffman, in there concerning that for the public to view. I guess it's a good thing that there was enough interest, but it also shows that there's a big shortage and there's a need, right? I also put in there for your review and the public's review our energy update, Q1. Just wanted to show you that the projects, one thing that to emphasize is that when you're in the midst of a project, you can't do anything until the project's completed to the nth degree, till it's all the way done. Otherwise, you will affect warranties and other things. And then if something that they installed is incorrect and you did something to modify it, then you're to blame. It's not the original install. And so we've waited for these projects to wrap up. They just wrapped up the air conditioning and all the upgrades there at Linden. So the project there with the lighting with Midstate, that's all wrapped up. They're all done. Core's all done. And so now we can begin to address some of the concerns that might come up. But I wanted you to see just Q1, how we've done as far as the summary. You'll see that we've had decreases in almost every area as far as cost. Q1 usage, 27,000 kilowatts, and a cost decrease of $11,500. So we're seeing the benefits of the implementation on the electrical side. And that's a comparison. We're down 10% as far as cost from last year at the same time. You look, there's some July usage there, and it'll break it down by site. September usage cost decreased compared to last year. This is down 17.7% over last year's numbers. So we are seeing some good effect of those things, but that is there, and it breaks it down by site. Nicholas Homestead, percentage change, 59% in cost, 25% down at district office, transportation, 23%. Cholo High School is down 4%. Linden Elementary is down 13%. So there's been some real cost savings there in
So
that.
if someone from the public wanted to access this report, what would they do?
This is under the board agenda,
Okay.
and it's under the superintendent's
Under this
report,
item, right?
and it's under the public documentation. So you just have to go in and click on this
Okay.
Attachment.
It's a great report.
Is there a way we can get that on the website in the bond area that we've had, or?
The bond website that Core produced for us, they're done with their project. So that portion is done also. We could certainly put it under the business operations portion.
That'd be a great idea that people could go there and access that pretty quick, if you would.
And our Midstate is offering these every quarter or every month?
Quarterly.
Quarterly, so we can
Excellent.
update those quarterly as they become
Excellent.
available.
If you would, please.
Mr. President, that's my report.
Excellent. Thank you. Good news. Appreciate everything going on and the positive direction we're headed. I really appreciate that. Item 3.6, future board agenda items. Is there anybody that has anything they would like included on a future board agenda?
No.
Okay, thank you. Item 4.1, approval of overnight and out-of-state travel, Mr. House.
We have a couple for your consideration. Mr. Marchant recommends approval of Marshall and Jill Pratt to take 5 high school students to Central Arizona Honor Band recognition and enrichment activity. That's November 25th. They'll leave at 4 o'clock and return on the 26th at 11:30 ish. Also, Mr. Marchant recommends the approval of Mike Hall and Jerry Butler and Greg Schindler to take the high school running club cross-country team to the Ragnar relay race in Wickenburg, from Wickenburg to Tempe, and that's January 31st to February 1st. If you're not familiar with the Ragnars, it's a pretty crazy event, but I guess it's ultra fun. But you wouldn't see me running that far, but these guys want to do it, so I would recommend that we approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve overnight and out-of-state travel.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 4.2, discussion and approval of the new logo and mascot for WMI.
So, Mr. President, members of the board, I asked Dr. Taylor to go down to a meeting today with Dr. Crow from ASU, talking about some workforce development and some other projects that are there. And so he's not here to present this evening, but he did put down some documentation there. I'll just take a brief minute to explain the process. Up until this point, White Mountain Institute has been a quasi-subsidiary of Show Low High School. Although it has its own entity ID number with the state, it's its own standalone school. We really haven't utilized it in function for a little while. It's been just kind of fledgling, maybe service 10 to 20 kids a year, and come what may. And typically it's the students that were having less than success at Show Low High School. They needed to just credit recovery, so to speak. We also have the White Mountain Institute Online, which is our online offering, which a lot of traditional school districts like ourselves do not have online schools approved. We are fortunate enough to have one where we can offer online instruction to any student within the state of Arizona, whether they live inside of our district or they don't. Part of mine and Dr. Taylor's conversations as he is looking to grow this program was we need our own identity. And so he went about working with the students and others to create that identity. And so in here he says, our process was to arrive at a proposed mascot and logo for White Mountain Institute began by 2 processes. First, we solicited ideas from White Mountain students and got their ideas through a survey. And then we listed all the colors and mascots of nearby schools as a comparison, and we found that many schools assume a light and dark color combination and areas from the animals from the area. And so then they started looking regarding color. We thought borrowing one color from Show Low High School, who they've been tied to for a long time, would be appropriate. And considering all of the district colors have that as part of it, they chose forest green as one of the colors. Added brown to represent the trees, which loggers, hunters, trappers, and pioneers long depended, and a muted purple as a highlighted light purple mountain majesty around us. So a lot of symbolism in the way that they selected the colors, but also some respect to the traditions of what we have in our district. Black and white will also be part of some of the designs. The finalists for the mascot, they needed a symbol that would capture the attitude of the school and the students and the people that they would be serving, and so that they also something that represented the environment that we were in. And so they realized that ranchers and cattlemen already had a name for those kind of individuals, and that was Mavericks. And so they settled, and they're bringing to you tonight that name, the Mavericks, as a symbolism of, as you may or may not know, apparently I was instructed in this, that a Maverick was a cow, usually a bull, that chose its own path. It went away from the herd, became fairly independent in the way that it went, and that is the population of students that we are serving. They have their way that they have to meet, whether it's they have to work or they have some other challenges in the traditional classroom. You'll see in there, he provided for you the logos. That was designed by our high school art class and teacher through Show Low High School in consultation with people, with the students at White Mountain Institute. This mascot will serve as a symbol on their graduation diplomas, which will be their first graduation will be held in December. We anticipate 8 to 12 students being the inaugural graduates of White Mountain Institute as White Mountain Institute under this new identity. And so right now we're servicing approximately, remember we said 10 to 20 in the past, we're pushing 70 students that we're servicing, as well as those that are in our online environment. So we're really excited about the opportunity to bring this forward and to kind of help these individuals to have their own identity and have a successful educational future and future for that matter. So we bring the colors and the mascot to you for your consideration this evening.
Are we going to approve, are we approving the colors and the mascot only, or are we going to pick the logo tonight?
I think all the logos are just variations of the same thing.
Okay,
Used interchangeably. I
okay,
think.
so they'll use it
Interchangeably.
good, because I couldn't choose. I like them all. I
I
really
believe
did.
the
I thought they were all
diploma
great.
will have something that looks like this, a circular piece on it as their representation.
I like the corrugated.
I didn't. Public couldn't see that. I apologize.
I have a quick question,
Yeah.
President. And Mr. Housley, have we, I'm assuming Mr. Ortiz has donated these, and do we have everything as far as ensuring that his intellectual property has, been properly designated so that it can be used in this fashion, and that we're not going to have an issue later on by using that?
I believe he designed this for the specific express purpose of being used for White Mountain Institute and the said purposes of that school.
Okay, they kind of like engaged his services for this project.
Yes.
Okay. With that, I'll move to approve the logo, the colors, and the mascot for the White Mountain Institute as it's been presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I would just like to say that this is very exciting. This is a very exciting thing for us. I am really grateful for, we've kind of, like you said, we've kind of seen this in its infancy, and it's never really grown. And we've made that a priority, and I think that's really great. And this is all really great. I really appreciate it. I understand Dr. Taylor just came in. If you, we're ready to vote here, but if you'd like to say something, we'd love for you to come up and add anything that you'd like to.
I'm not dressed for it.
That's okay. I didn't comb my hair for tonight, so it doesn't matter.
Helping Mr. Stabenow, who is a teacher for WMI. We were chopping wood and loading it, so that's where we've been for the last hour, doing that together. And I understand you are related to Mark Tregaskis?
Mm-hmm.
Good man, good friend. Well, I don't have much to say other than things seem to be going in the right direction. There's a measure of excitement and expectation of a healthy environment. A lot of word of mouth advertising. It's taking place. And we have also submitted our application to expand that to include the 6th or 8th grade. We don't know yet how the state will weigh in on that, but the school's doing well, and we're going to try and fill it. And I don't know what the original enrollment was, but I think we've doubled or tripled or quadrupled the size of it from last year, so things are going in the right direction. We felt like, I don't know if you were able to read the little excerpt, but the term maverick seems to fit as a group of people who sort of go away from the crowd somewhat, but they're good kids. They're all of them. They're good kids. They go and they experience such a wide variety of challenges, and every situation is different. So it's a matter of trying to tailor what we provide them, help them through it. It's an uphill battle because they don't always have the support structures that you and I might find necessary to make it through some of those things. But we're making a connection with them. We care about them. They know that. Mr. Clark, who's the new paraprofessional out there, is doing an excellent job. We really won the lottery with him. And so we have a good team. And I see it going in the way that it should. So thank you for your support, and we want to try and expand that reach even more. We've had to make a lot of transitional steps. For example, we're about 90% of having all our immunization records accurate, and that's really a great thing when you have your immunizations and all the things that go along with trying to keep all their cumulative files separate now. And we haven't completely cut the umbilical cord because they're just resources at the high school we just don't have yet. But insofar as we can, we're shouldering the load that goes with that school. So thank you for the privilege. I didn't mean to come in and interrupt you. I just thought, well, I have a few minutes. I just finished with wood, so I thought I'd swing by and see if you guys liked our little logo and colors in our initiative. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, we feel like we won the lottery finding you, so we have very high expectations, and we're very excited for the way things are going. Okay, if there's nothing else, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5.1, approval of resignations, retirements, and terminations. Mr. Housley.
We have a resignation effective January 10th. That's Ashley Connor, high school administrative assistant. She's worked in our front office here just a little over a year. We really love and appreciate her. I think career opportunities and other things have presented themselves, and she'll be moving on. Unfortunately, that will be a loss for us, but you'll see her letter there. I bring that to you for your approval this evening.
I'll move we approve her resignation.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. 5.2, approval of new hires, renewals, and transfers. Mr. Housley.
We have the following individuals for your consideration. New hires: Jessica Allman as a junior high special ed paraprofessional, para 1. Greg Clark, high school White Mountain Institute paraprofessional. It's a para 1. Greg was also he's serving. We've moved because we've got to participate in the talent program through MPC now. He's the paraprofessional that would also service those students when they're in that environment. So as you heard, he's doing a great job. James Hilton, sub bus driver. Ashley Johnson, junior high choir teacher. Shauna Schweigert is a Nicholas Homestead health tech. student practicum, Jana Blay. We'll be doing a practicum at Whipple Ranch with Miss Stansberry. That'll be this fall. And then as a student teacher, Monica Lewis will be doing her student teaching with Miss Graham at Whipple Ranch starting in the spring of 2020. Just a question about the junior high choir teachers, just so that you know, as a long-term scenario, you can serve as a long-term sub for 120 days. It could be a little bit longer, but the position has to continue to remain open, and we have to be actively seeking highly qualified individuals to fill that position. We did have someone apply for that position who is a highly qualified music teacher, and so she will actually be in the class until the transition. The transition will happen somewhere around January, so that it's a good transition for kids right after Christmas break and other things, and she'll get to know the kids. So I think it'll be a good transition, and we very much appreciate the time and effort Mrs. Brewer has put in. I think she's done a phenomenal job in that circumstance. So we do appreciate it. These are here for your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve new hires and transfers.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns?
So is Kara Brewer still in the class through the end of the year? Because is that what's happening?
Through the end of until December. Through the end, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Approval of substitutes, item 5.3.
We have 2 certifieds and a classified, Sharon Gooder as a K-12 sub, and Ashley Johnson as a K-12 sub, also as a classified substitute for Health Tech Madison Hulk. Bring those for your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the certified and classified substitutes.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
This is where Ashley is going to be subbing with Kara till the end of the semester, right? Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5.4, approval of stipends, volunteers, and event work. Mr. House.
We have a number of these for your consideration. They include CTE dual enrollment stipends and then sports stipends for the winter sports, basketball, wrestling, junior high softball, and then our volunteers for orchestra and guitar, also for boys basketball and girls basketball, as well as junior high wrestling and event workers. I bring those for your approval this evening.
I'll move we approve the stipends, volunteers, and event workers as listed.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5.5, approval of contract revision.
So, Mr. Donald Coughlin is a current bus driver for us. We had a resignation that we considered a little over a month ago for our warehouse person, and we've invited him to work in that warehouse for a time between the bus routes, and so in doing so, he works at one rate in one position as a bus driver, and then as another position at the warehouse rate, which is a different rate than a bus driver would receive. And so we need to that's an adjustment to his contract and his position in the district. So we have to bring that to you for consideration to allow that to happen. And so we do bring that. It increased contract hours, and we're doing that for a 30-day trial period to see if it works. We've had a little less than success with warehouse clerk. I think we've gone through a couple because of the way that it is. So he's been working on that in that position, and he'll do that for 30 days, and then there'll be an evaluation to see if the transition works. He would then probably move away from the bus driving or continue in the situation we are now.
I'll move we approve the contract revision as listed.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 6.1, discuss and approve the district wellness plan. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, members of the board, we have to have a district wellness policy as part of the National School Lunch Program, according in some of the ADE requirements. It's a lengthy document. It is outlined there for you to view. Mr. Houston is here if you might have some questions on some of the content or things that are there that you might have questions about. But we basically outlines when food can be offered outside of the cafeteria, when it can't be, what can be given in the classroom. You know, oftentimes people will ask, well, why can't we have our first graders have the birthday cupcakes at 8 o'clock in the morning? Well, it's because of the National School Lunch Program prohibits it. And so we have to abide by those if we're going to receive that funding, which we do in ample amounts. So that's for your approval this evening, and Mr. Houston's here to answer any questions you might have.
Make a motion to approve the wellness policy.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Bond update. Mr. Schubert, you're gonna,
No, we don't have one.
we don't have a bond update?
We don't have a bond update. That was
Okay.
left on accidentally. You can blame Brandy for that one.
Take it.
You'll take it? Okay. All right, so, if we don't have anything on that, are we getting to the point where we're not going to be, updating anymore?
The only update that we'll continue to have is we express we still have that portion of money. We still have to figure out the priorities for it.
Mhm.
Currently, we're in the process of identifying those priorities and getting quotes so that we could set actually budget constraints for what those priorities look like, and then we'll bring those back to the board.
Okay.
For instance, if one of the things on the bond was to add surveillance cameras at all the sites. We have them at the high school. We don't have them at any of the other sites necessarily. And so doing that could cost, depending on the estimates that we're getting, about $130,000 to do all around the whole district. Well, that particular procurement will have to come to you anyways because it's over $100,000. But things like that are being considered and reviewed for priority and where we are with those, making sure that our intercoms are in the right order. Again, the SFB could cover some of those, but they have to be non-functioning, right? They have to have completely gone south. And so in some cases that's happened. And so we have to identify where those are, which we have been doing.
And when you're doing that prioritizing, who's doing that? Is it your internal administrative staff, or is it the bond oversight committee, or?
Currently, in this stage, it's been the administrative team. So there's about 13 of us as a part of that discussion group, from facilities to building principals to directors of programs. And so we've been evaluating. We don't want to waste the bond committee's time because it's valuable. We meet during their lunch for most of them. So we want to have a list in a bond constraint so that they can look at it. Or not bond constraint, but budget constraints set. And so then they can adjust those if they feel like something's out of order.
So next month we'll have something to discuss on that, correct?
Possibly.
We're hopeful.
Okay, I'd like to hear something, please.
Well, that was
We'd like
something.
to. Yeah. Okay.
I agree with President Larson. I would like to, I think we have those monies like as fast as possible. Let's get them and put them to use for our school district.
Yeah, and I think the community would like to see that too, from what I've been able to gather. So,
yeah.
Thank you, appreciate that. 7.2, discussion and approval to award Norlon Industries the bid for the bleacher replacement project at the Show Low High School. Award is contingent on SFB board approval of funding in December. Who gets that one?
I'll take that one.
Okay.
So what you have before you tonight is we did a sealed bid for the replacement of the bleachers at Show Low High School. We received 2 qualified bids, and Norcon Industries is the low bidder for our project. We bring this to you tonight for your approval, but it needs to be contingent upon approval of the SFB approving the project in December. So we're just trying to get ahead of the program so that we're not falling further and further behind in some timelines. The bid in itself from Norcon Industries was $340,270. But the SFB has also agreed, since the seats that we're putting in have to be 80, we have to have sections of ADA compliance, so we'd actually be losing seating. So the SFB has agreed to go ahead and fund the Group 1, which is an additional 54 seats. That's an additional 7176. So we bring this to you tonight for your approval. Again, it is contingent upon the SFB approving the project in December.
And as a reminder, we're, like Mr. Schubert said, we're trying to get out in front of it a little bit, because if we waited till they did it and then we approved it in January, then we're looking at about a 12-week lead on this item. So it's good to be out in front of it a little bit.
Just a question on the difference in the bid, almost 100,000.
Yes.
Did somebody miss something?
No. We actually we had to come back to Norcon because their bid, it had included the taxes. And within the documents, taxes were to be included in the base bid and not shown as a separate line item. So their original bid was $20,000 less, and then an additional $20,000 on top of that to include taxes. We actually went back to Norcon and said, this is what you have. Is this correct? Because if this is what you're proposing to us, we're taking a $20,000 deduction off of this because of the taxes being listed on your bid. So the Norcon went back through. We gave them a 48-hour time frame. They came back through and said, this is our bid.
And Mr. Schubert, just for the public's awareness and the boards, we do use with this SFB project, we are using a third-party procurement.
Yes, we are.
So they're running the procurement. Yes.
Mr. President, I have a quick question. So if we looked at the Group 1 seats and it adds a total of 69 gross seat, is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Schubert? And then if we did Group 2, would that be an additional 65 seats, or is that just a different?
So Group 1 is on the north side. Group 2 is the south side.
Okay.
So, but that is what the SFB had agreed to fund, because we came back to them saying, look, we're going to lose with the ADA compliance seating, we're going to lose 60 seats.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're supposed to replace like for like. So in order for me to get the same amount of seating, I need you to approve either the Group 1 seating or the Group 2 seating.
So are we going to have an increase in seating, or are we going to be at the same number?
We'll have the same capacity.
And is there a possibility of adding more seats to the gym if the school district picked up the tab?
We would have to pick up the tab for ourselves.
Okay. Is that something we would want to do? Is the
Right
structure
now, with the fire marshal, we are at capacity.
Okay.
So adding seats is not
feasible?
It's not feasible because it gets us outside the range of what the fire marshal would
Well,
approve.
and share with them a little bit about how they determine the seats, because I thought the bleachers on one side are going to be almost wall to wall, right? So, but how do they?
So what they're doing to increase that capacity is they're shrinking the space in between the seats.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's 1.5 inches per row, which gives us that extra row down at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So even if we wanted to say, okay, well, the district will pick up the tab for $7,000, it looks like, for each additional row, we couldn't do that with the infrastructure.
With the capacity of the gymnasium, we couldn't do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve. Bid.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. I appreciate you jumping out, getting ahead on this. I realize that once we're able to get moving on it, this will save us some
Yeah,
time.
it basically saves us the lead time
Yeah.
on the actual bleachers themselves.
So should we have changed that so it was contingent on, or is that implied in our motion?
I would say it would be implied.
Concept be
I
funding.
would agree, yeah.
Yeah, because the subject matter says contingent on,
Yeah, it's
funding, so. Excellent point, though. I was going to say that before we voted, and I forgot, so thank you. Item 7.3, discussion and approval of the student placement agreement between the Arizona Board of Regents for and on behalf of Northern Arizona University and Show Low Unified School District. You get this one, Mr. Schubert?
I'll take it.
Okay.
And basically what it is this is an agreement between us and Northern Arizona University for the opportunity to place student teachers in our buildings. And what they agree to do when they're here and what we agree to do when they're on our campus. I think it's a great thing to have in place. I've been in certain circumstances where these haven't been in place with universities or other entities that have student teachers in place, and the experience for the student is less than quality. And so I think this helps to ensure that that student has a quality experience on both the university side and the school district side. So we bring this for your approval this evening.
I would move to approve the student placement agreement between Arizona Board of Regents on behalf of Northern Arizona University and the Show Low Unified School District.
I'll second it.
I have a motion second. Any further discussion?
I think it's a great thing if we can get more quality teachers
This is-
doing student teaching in our schools and they come to love the
Understand.
place like we all have, then that's great for the district. So
Absolutely, I agree. With that said, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 7.4, discussion and approval of the agreement between the Arizona State Schools for the Deaf and Blind and participating public schools or other approved educational program. Mr. Housley, do you have this one too?
This is a general IGA between the Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind. And it just outlines the conditions of our relationship with them. They often will, if we have someone who is deaf or blind, they help to provide those services for the students in our schools, and this outlines that agreement.
And just to put on top of that, this is an annual agreement, but this is one that we do every year.
Going to ask if that was similar to what we've done last year. I'll make a motion to approve the agreement between the Arizona State Schools for the Deaf and the Blind and participating public schools or other approved educational program.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any other questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 8.1 through 8.6, consent agenda.
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Schubert?
for tonight on the consent agenda, we're bringing for your approvals the following: the ratification of our payroll and expense vouchers, the ratification of our junior high, high school, and food service activity revenues and expenditures, the approval of the governing board minutes from the regular meeting on October 10th, 2019. Tonight, we're also bringing for you the approval to change the January board meeting date to January 16th, 2020, not 2019. And approval of the following donations. Q Supply made a $200 donation towards Dig Pink t-shirts for the high school volleyball team. BRG Precision Products donated a countdown timer to the wrestling team valued at $600. The Navajo County Sheriff's Department donated $1,000 to the high school boys basketball team. Fiesta Bowl Charities awarded $5,000 grant to Chris Jones at Nicholas Homestead for the purchase of Chromebooks and a cart. Lowe's donated 30 sheets of drywall valued at $150 to the robotics team to renovate the new robotics facility. Ace Hardware donated an additional 60 sheets of drywall, 4 5-gallon of joint compound, 8 rolls of drywall tape, and drywall screws to the robotics team valued at $1,250. Moore Law donated $250 to the high school robotics team. UNS Gas, they donated $3,000 to the high school robotics team. Baldwin and Jones PLLC donated $500 to the high school robotics team. The Show Low Youth Foundation donated $1,500 to the high school student council. Beeler Orthodontics donated $300 to the high school robotics team. William and Sue Menlove donated $24 to the high school robotics team. William and Lindy Irvin donated $24 to the high school robotics team. Tech Tools donated $24 to the high school robotics team. David and Jody Clark donated $36 to the high school robotics team. Luz Aragon donated $36 to the high school robotics team. Julie Coda donated $48 to the high school robotics team. Davey Ashton, he donated $48 to the high school robotics team. And community members from various locations around the city of Show Low have donated $566 to the high school robotics team. And finally, Derek and Stephanie Whipple donated $96 to the high school robotics team. That is our consent agenda for tonight, and I bring that to you for your approval.
A quick question, Mr. Housley. How do we thank the people who've donated to the school? Do we send like thank you notes, or how do we let them know our appreciation? I know we say thank you here, but I mean, with this vast audience, I'm sure the word does not get out like we would like it. So what do we do to make sure we know that we appreciate the support of the community? And the other one is somebody at the robotics team is hustling, man. Like they're out there getting money. So my kudos to them. So, and thank you to them. And also to Chris Jones for applying and getting the $5,000 grant from Fiesta Bowl. That's really remarkable.
From the district side, we haven't done anything as far as a card or anything. We've kind of left that in the realm of the organization that's collecting the funds, for instance, the robotic club. So I'll follow up and see what's being done on those realms, and then we'll consider what we should do on our end.
Yeah, I just appreciate.
Certainly, it's very generous, right?
Yeah, that's our community steps up, which is great. I know I work with the Show Low Youth Foundation and MC a fundraiser for them, and this community is awesome to do that. So it really makes me proud to be a part of a community like this who's willing to give so much. So with that, I'll motion to approve the consent agenda item.
Second it.
I have a motion second. Anything else? Please extend our gratitude. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.1, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here, and be safe.
Thank you.